Hey, guess what? We're live.
Hey, it's Jess the Ska Kid. We're at Palace Day, Sheila Reno. It's Thursday night, and on the phone with us this evening we have Lyn-Z from Misunderstood, who you just heard the whole Disaster album on our previous hour from Indiana. Hello and welcome, Lyn-Z.
Hello, how are you guys?
We're wonderful. We're kind of cold, but it's not horrible. It's not negative anymore. How about you? What's it like in Indiana?
It just snowed a little bit, but we're not covered in snow like you guys.
Yeah, we've this winter has been hard, and I guess we're over our snow accumulation for the year, which is good. At least we'll have good crops, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hopefully no cops are gonna snatch my crops.
we
Okay.
so to kick things off, we did read the little bio part that you have on Bandcamp that said that you guys got started in 2006 and that you are the founder of the band.
Yes, I started it when I was 15 years old.
So, I mean, that is awesome that you've been able to maintain quite a lengthy amount of time with this project. Have you, I mean, you obviously being the founder, you're there. Are the people who are on that album still in the band? Have you gone through lineup changes?
The drummer is still kind of in the band. He's playing shows here and there, but I also have a touring drummer. His name's Mike Defendit. He's in an acoustic duo with his girlfriend. They're called Mike Defendit and Katrina Joe.
Yep.
But we do not have a bass player right at the moment.
So, looking for, I mean, like, we met you at Punk Fest. How did you get on that bill?
That was our third year. I just wrote Josh from Punk Fest, and he put us on, and he put us on the same day as our good friend Some Kind of Nightmare. Mm-hmm. And the next year he put us on again with Some Kind of Nightmare, and then the third year he put us on again with Some Kind of Nightmare. So it's just, we just keep returning.
And are you going to submit for this year? Are you planning on doing it this year?
I did submit, so hopefully we will get to play again, and hopefully with Some Kind of Nightmare.
That's really cool. How did you hear about Punk Fest?
I don't really actually know. I think it was just a Facebook thing, and I never played Milwaukee before, and my bandmates at the time, I was just like, you guys want to play Milwaukee? And they're like, sure. So we did it. So,
like, you, from then, because that was end of August to present, you seemed to have a lot of shows. Tell us about, since Punk Fest, where have you been and what's upcoming for you guys as far as shows are concerned?
Last year we had some car trouble and stuff, but we still played 69 shows. We pretty much kept the same drummer. We had to kick out the bassist, so we were two-piece. But every time we played with Some Kind of Nightmare, Molly Mess would fill in bass for us for a few songs. So right now, I took the month of February off to save up money, but we are actually leaving next month for a tour to Florida. And then April, I'm leaving to go do the East Coast tour with my old drummer from high school. And then we got some stuff in the works. Hopefully, we'll be touring a lot more, but our drummer had to quit for a little bit, so we've been kind of playing it. But my touring drummer is down to tour, so whenever he's free, I'm just like, let's go on tour, and we go on tour. So hopefully we'll be playing a decent amount of shows again this year, and hopefully we'll be playing Punk Fest and Harvard Punk Fest and all the same awesome shows that we usually play every year.
I find it interesting. You are the second band that we've done an interview with that said that they utilize a touring drummer from a different state because they're from Ohio. So how does that work logistically when you go about setting up these tours? What's it like trying to coordinate on a different level, getting other people from other states in on these shows?
Well, with Mike, he actually is a really good friend of mine. I've known him, I was like 16, he was like, I think 15 or something like that. And we started playing shows together because he actually had a full band back in the day. And then he's only like an hour away. And we started playing shows. And when my drummer had to quit, he told me he would fill in. And then finally I looked at him. We did a 3-day mini tour in December. And I already had it booked. And I was like, could you do this and help me play it? And he's like, sure. And then like, we just had a lot of fun hanging out because we've been friends for so long. So I was like, well, let's tour some more. And then we booked this March tour together. And then we're planning on hopefully doing a Canadian tour and hopefully Cali in the spring and fall. And so hopefully everything works out. But he's really cool and he's up for touring. It's just we both have jobs, so we have to like figure out how to go about that. But other than that, it's pretty easy. It's pretty much my life. So I just tour and I go home and I feed my dogs. So that's pretty much my life.
Do you bring your dogs on tour with you?
I wish I could take them on tour, but they are 3 big dogs. So my dad watches them when I go on tour. He comes over and he feeds them. And my big dog Bliss, she gets super mad. And when I come home from tour, she don't talk to me for like weeks on end.
You abandoned me! How dare you!
Yeah, she's my baby. I've had her for 7 years, and my dad makes it worse when I'm gone. He's like, oh, poor baby. And then when I come home, she's so mad at me. She don't talk to me.
Hopefully in the future, right, we get a tour bus and the dogs can come and such things.
Yeah, it'd be nice. They could keep me warm.
So from 15 to present, that's amazing. What was it like, being a young 15-year-old, creating a band? How did you come about creating this? And what was it like as a young person booking shows and playing out? How often did you do that?
When I actually started playing guitar, I was 12, and I was like really obsessed with the Josie and Pussycat movie. And my mom finally got sick and tired of me playing the soundtrack over and over again in my bedroom. So she brought me a CD, and she's like, you need to listen to the CD. And it was Joan Jett's I Love Rock and Roll. And I officially stole that CD as soon as she gave it to me, and I never gave it back to her. And I fell in love with Joan Jett, and I was like, I gotta learn to play guitar. So my brother went out and bought me a guitar. He said he was buying it for himself, but he bought it for me for my birthday. And I put the guitar down for about 6 months, but I picked it back up. So when I was like 15 years old, I was like, I want to be like Joan Jett. I want to be in a band. So I literally went around high school, and I was just asking dudes. I was like, do you play instruments? And I got a guitar player and a drummer. And then I went home and called my brother, who's 8 years older than me, and I was like, you want to be in my band? And he's like, sure. So from then on, I just played, and we booked anywhere. We started having to play, like, Richmond don't have a very good music scene anymore. They kind of had a music scene when I was that age. But we used to play the local coffee shop every Thursday. And then there was a church that did all 8 shows. We did that. And then I convinced my mom to drive me to other places. My mom was real okay with it as long as it was like 1 or 2 shows a month. And then once I started getting more band members that could play more shows, we started picking up the pace. And I started learning myself how to book all these shows. And it's been fun. It's really time consuming, but I've learned a lot. And I've learned a lot from asking other people how to do it. But over the 12 years, it's been really fun. I've learned a lot on how to do it. And now I feel like I'm a little bit more successful about how doing it. But I've played a lot of shows, and I try to, like, remember, like, all the shows I played, and it's really hard.
That's why you gotta take pictures, right, of every show.
Yeah.
I did it!
Yeah.
The pictures are what? I'm really bad about taking pictures, which is why I'm thankful I have a crew of human beings, because I'm like, oh yeah, we're here, we're doing it! I don't know, I don't take a lot of pictures, I guess. So, have you guys always been a 3-piece?
Actually, no. When we first started out, we were a 4-piece. We ended up kicking the one kid out, and we was a 3-piece, and then we became a 4-piece, and then the last time we were a 4-piece was when I was 18, and I decided I didn't want another guitar player because every time I had a second guitar player, they tried to outplay me. And I'm not the greatest guitar player, but like when they would try to outplay me, it used to make me mad. So I was just like, we'll just be a 3-piece. It's so much easier to put 3 people in a car and get somewhere than 4 people or 5 people.
Yeah. Yes, we know that. I think it was Mikey and Katrina Joe. Their tires blew out on the way to Punk Fest and they had to like catch a ride?
Yeah. I woke up that morning and Mike made a Facebook status and then he wrote me and he's like, is there any way? And they were on the way because we didn't play anywhere the night before. We drove straight to Milwaukee. And I was like, sure, like why not? I was like, I don't want you to miss this. This was their first punk fest, and I was like, this punk fest is amazing, so I don't want you to miss it. Like, I wanted you to meet all the cool bands that we've been friends with over the years, and so yeah, but they had a rough time. They had trouble, so we literally just went and picked them up at a hotel room and took them with us.
Did you guys stay in Milwaukee that night, or did you drive straight back to Indiana?
We actually stayed that night. We stayed at Josh's, and we crashed with Some Kind of Nightmare, and there was another band, I can't remember, but we all crashed on the floor of Josh's house.
So since you've been doing this for 12 years, what would you say has been the hardest part about trying to set up tours in other places?
It's really hard to find venues that will take you seriously and not try to like rip you off or like we play a lot of cool venues, but sometimes we show up to shows and like it's like a big bust and it's like we promote but they don't promote but like there's some places we played Colorado back in the spring and like we were trying to get like a Nebraska date and stuff and there was like nowhere to play, like nowhere to book, and it was so hard, so we took that day off. But like the venue we had, they didn't want to do it. They wanted to do karaoke instead, and it's just, you have those moments, but like it's just it's a lot of planning, and you should do it like far in advance. I try to book these tours like 4 months in advance. So if anything falls through, it doesn't fall through kind of like last minute unless it has to. Mm-hmm. Because it does get kind of hard to like remember, and like some venues make you get bands, and then if you've never been to that state before, you're like, who do I ask, or how do I find these bands? And luckily, I usually hit up like other friends that's played those states and like, who do you guys usually play with down here or whatever? But it's a lot of fun. It's just sometimes really stressful.
Right. And you're doing all of it, right? You're seeking out the venue and finding the bands and coordinating. Do you have a spreadsheet?
Yeah, I should. No, I usually in my phone, I have like every single date that we book logged, and then like notebooks. I have like, I'll write down like each day on the tour and like who do we have booked, and then I'll go make event pages so that I kind of don't forget, because sometimes I forget I asked bands, and then if they say yes, I kind of forget they said yes, and then like, because we do it so far in advance and everyday life, and then trying to do that, it gets kind of hectic, but it's worth it.
So this upcoming tour that you plan for Florida, where are you going to be going?
We are leaving on the 16th. We're leaving Friday night, the 15th, to drive straight to Tampa. We're playing in Tampa, Florida at the Brass Mug with some cool bands. And then the next night we're playing Orlando, and we're actually meeting up with our friends Houston and the Dirty Rats. They're actually from New Jersey.
Yep.
They're going to be playing with us. And then the 18th, we're taking the day off. We might be recording. And then we will be playing Melbourne, Florida the next night. And then we got like a South Carolina date, 2 North Carolina dates, a Virginia date, and then we're coming home.
Gotcha. So when you plan on recording, that leads me to this question. We played Disaster tonight, and do you
Yes.
how old of a recording is that? When was that done?
We literally recorded that last February. We released it in May. So yeah, it's a year old.
Not bad. Do you guys have anything else, or what you're planning on doing when you go on tour is the next thing?
We are actually, me and the drummer that quit for a little while and he's back, partly. We've been working on some new stuff. We will have a new EP out by summer. It'll probably be about 4 songs. It'll be one of the really old Misunderstood songs and then 3 new songs. They're in the process of being written, but we are finishing the one up because we are playing a show Saturday in Indianapolis, and we're presenting it for the first time, just to try it live.
So when you record, are you guys doing that yourself? Do you go through a sound guy? Like, how? Explain to us your recording process.
Last time when we recorded Disaster, we have some really cool friends that was in a band called Their Accomplices. They're from Cincinnati, Ohio. They're on hiatus right now, but their guitar player, Sean, they're on hiatus because his wife just had a baby a few months ago. But before she got pregnant, he had a home studio in his basement. So those recordings are actually recorded in Sean's basement in Cincinnati, Ohio. But usually, like, I've recorded all over the place. I just try to find some cool friends. We have a guy in Florida that's probably going to record a couple songs with us. And then there's another guy in Cincinnati that was in a band called Hot Diggity Daffodil. He's the drummer. His name's Jason. He's going to record some songs, too, for us. It's just kind of whoever record us and where we can actually get to record. I want to learn myself how to record, but I'm not that great yet. So, like, when I start writing a song, I could record myself, but I don't know how to mix and master and all that stuff yet. So, I'm still learning. One day I'm hoping that I can just record ourselves because it'd be so easier just to sit in my living room and record the band than having to drive all over the place.
Where are you?
At the same time.
Where are you thinking of going in Florida to record?
There's this guy. I can't actually remember his name at the moment. He actually knows some kind of Nightmare and stuff. He offered to record us. If we do, it'll probably only be like 2 songs because my touring drummer actually don't know the new material yet. So I kind of don't want to just go to Florida and write stuff at last minute. But if we do, it'll be with him. He actually has recorded a lot of good bands. So we'll probably do half the EP with him and then half the EP with Jason in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. How, with the touring drummer and then trying to accomplish your recording, would you off the cuff just have him listen to what you guys do, like a mini practice session, and then okay, now we're gonna record this, or do you record things previously and send it to him so he can be ready for tour? How does that logistical sort of nightmare, it sounds like, go?
Yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. That's why with Florida, I'm gonna probably have Mike record one of the old Misunderstood songs. It's already recorded. I just want a new updated version. And then I think I'm just gonna pick one of the newer songs and just me and him write it when we're in the studio, and then just record it, and then we'll just go off of that. He's pretty good at knowing, and the songs are pretty simple, so I could just pretty much tell him kind of what I want it to sound like, and then he can do his own thing on top of that.
So when you sit down to write music, Lynsey, is it just you doing all of that as well, or do you show up to band practice and everybody kind of has a collaborative part in doing so, or how does the songwriting come about?
It's been different over the years. Used to, when I was 18, we used to practice in a recording studio. There's a legit recording studio we used to actually hang out in and stuff. And when we wrote a couple of the songs we actually recorded while we were writing, and it was like a group effort thing. But over the years, since I've had to have so many bandmates, I kind of just sit down and write myself, like lyrics and guitars, and then like these new songs. The new song that we're working on, I literally wrote guitar parts and lyrics, and then I showed my drummer, and he came up with a guitar or drum beat. So then we kind of started writing together. So kind of it's like an effort thing, but pretty much it's me just being like, here, this is what I got, and then we write on top of it.
Was it easy for you to learn guitar?
Sorta. Like, I kind of gave up on it for a minute, but I don't know, like it was kind of hard at first, but once I got it, I started I did a lot of research and started watching Joan Jett and Brody Dahl and all my idols, and I'm like, wow. And I did that, and I would watch I had friends in high school and stuff, but mostly I would just go home and watch videos or learn stuff about my idols. But I would watch them, and I would watch them play, and then I would literally sit in my bedroom and kind of taught myself pretty much. My brother showed me a couple guitar chords, and then I was kind of like, cool, I got this. And then I started watching Joan Jett and Brody Dahl and stuff, and then I just kind of started teaching myself. So I pretty much taught myself how to play mostly everything that I do.
So you mentioned Joan Jett a few times, but I want to ask who else your influences are, because listening to you, you sound very much like Brody from the Distillers to me.
Yeah, she's actually, Joan Jett's been my, number one, but, Brody is actually, she's been my idol for a very long time. I love her so much. When we played my very first show, my very first big show, we played this opera house in middle of town, Ohio, and we opened up for a band called The Independents, and it was kind of a big deal, but we didn't know what we were doing. And at the end of the show, I felt like we played bad, but this lady walked up to me, and she's like, you look like Joan Jett, but you sound like Brody. And I had no clue who the hell Brody was. I was 16. And I was like, who is Brody? So I used to be on this Joan Jett message board back in the day, and we call ourselves Jet Heads. But all these people were like, oh, check out these bands. And this one lady was like, if you like punk music, you should check out the Distillers. And I'm like, I don't know who the Distillers are, but I checked them out, and I fell in love with Brody. And then I was like, I get it now. I was like, Brody? That's what that lady was trying to tell me. She says, I sound like Brody. Well, she meant Brody from the Distillers, but which is the greatest compliment now, because I love that woman. But but yeah, the Distillers is my top influence of playing punk music.
So how do you label yourself and your sound, and how well received have you been? I mean, looking at your guys online, you have quite a following.
Yeah, we've been playing for a while, so we pick up a lot of people and a lot of bands, and it's kind of weird because we don't really have a hometown. So when we play our hometown, people show up, but not as well. So when we play every other state and stuff, we have fans everywhere. So it's kind of we don't really have a hometown. But I just kind of label ourselves as a punk band. I don't know, it's different. We have all our songs kind of sound different. So I just say punk because some songs are kind of poppy, some are just technically just rock songs. Some songs are really punk, some are old school punk. It's just kind of whatever I'm feeling at the time I write. So pretty much just a punk band.
How did you get into punk rock music?
Punk rock? I don't know. It was kind of I was listening to Joan, and Joan's music's not really punk, but her attitude's punk. And then once I found out about Joan and the Distillers, I started listening to Rancid and Screeching Weasel, and in high school, that's all I would listen to was nothing but punk bands. I wouldn't let anybody else let me listen to anything else. So then I went and saw Rancid live. My mom took me. It was Rancid, Rise Against, and Riverboat Gamblers, and I was 17 years old. I was like, wow, punk music, you know, this is what I want to do. But, like, I listen to everything now, but, like, back in high school, that's all I was listening to. Like, I refused to listen to anything else unless it was, like, punk bands.
So, do you listen to any ska music?
Ska music? I do. I love, like, Real Big Fish. I guess the Interrupters would be kind of ska-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like, it depends, but I'm a huge fan of ska music sometimes. Like Real Big Fish was probably like my favorite ska band.
So,
I met them at Warped Tour and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
I did too. There's a picture of me with Dan, the trumpet player, back when I was like 15. It was my first Warped Tour, and I was like, geeked. And he, you know, he looks like he looked at that time kind of like a weird Fish fan because he had like
The fuck?
whatever. It's true. He had
What
the
the fuck?
he had the patched together things that you wear, like the weird,
hippie.
you know, like thing with the big
Patchwork.
puffy hair, and it was like, it's hot. It was like fucking 90 degrees. I'm like, why are you wearing these corduroy
That's
patched
some
together?
judgy ass fucking shit.
Whatever.
Moving along.
I'm just saying.
You have the roids, man.
So, how did you come up with the name Lyn-Z? Misunderstood.
Misunderstood. Actually,
Like a fish
we were
fan?
like, we went by another name, but once we actually played our first real show, I was like, we need a name. And Joan Jett actually has a song called Misunderstood, and it's a song that's kind of rare, and I don't know why I really call it. I kind of like really like that song, and then I was just like, I'm gonna call ourselves Misunderstood. And then over the years, it just kind of, I just kept it. Like, I kind of wanted to change it sometimes, but then I'm just like, no, because everybody knows us as that now, so I've never changed it.
Does your family come? It sounds like your family is very supportive of you. Do they come out to the shows and watch you?
My mom used to all the time, but she passed away actually 6 years ago.
Oh.
But she used to take me to all kinds of shows. She'd come to like every single show. My grandma's been to a few shows. We played a battle of bands once, and my grandma showed up and had a Misunderstood t-shirt on, and like it was real cool. My dad's been to a couple shows. Now, not a lot of family come out, but like I took my nephew. He's 18 now. I took him to a couple of our shows, and like just been like, hey, you want to come to the show? And he's like, sure. So my little nephews, when they were little, I used to take my CDs and I would let my grandma listen to it, and they would run around the living room and like mosh together, and they were like 5 and 6 years old. They were like little cute little like punk kids.
We have a house full of that.
We have a gaggle.
We have to tell them we can't play mosh pit when we go out to certain places. That's a real thing. When you're a punk rock parent, you have to teach the kids how to work appropriately in society, I guess.
Be civil here, children.
Right.
Mosh with the man with the cane.
Yeah, don't hit the guy with the cane. You mentioned you had a shirt that your grandma wore. What merch do you guys have available?
Right now we have t-shirts, we have CDs, we have patches, we have buttons, stickers. Most of the time we just give out stickers. Most of the venues that we play at, we just put stickers on the wall. So like every venue that we've been at, if I remember, it's somewhere in that venue. There's a Misunderstood sticker. We got a couple new t-shirts designed, so like in the spring I'm gonna get some more t-shirts made. Right now we only got one design. It's black with lime green and says Misunderstood. But hopefully we will be getting more stuff. I would like to sometime get like a vinyl. Just different stuff. At the moment we just have the t-shirts, the CDs, the buttons, the patches, and the stickers.
Are those available online so that the people who are watching and paying attention, if they wanted to purchase anything from you, how would they go about doing that?
Right now we don't have a store, but if they just message us on Facebook and they have PayPal, they can just PayPal me the money and I will mail it myself to them. Or they can message me on my personal Facebook. They can message us on our actual band page. We've been wanting to get an actual website and stuff up, but with all the different bandmate changes and stuff, I just haven't been able to yet.
Understood. One thing that isn't misunderstood.
Oh.
Sorry. So who makes your merch, Lynsey?
We actually, the buttons, we have like 3 different designs right now, but they've been like all over the place. There's a guy named Brian. He's in a band in Michigan called Desiring Dead Flesh. He actually makes buttons, so I've ordered off of him before. Our t-shirt guy makes buttons too. He's in Cincinnati. We usually go through this one guy that makes t-shirts in Cincinnati, and he's, I forget at the moment what his actually press is called, but I've been getting t-shirts from him because they're like really legit shirts, but they're cheaper, so we can actually sell them cheaper. We sell them anywhere from $5 to $7
Wow.
because that's how much we pay for them. We try to sell them just to make our money back. Unless we're like on tour, and then we put a couple extra dollars, for gas.
$10.
Our stickers, it depends too. I went through stickerjunkie.com. I went through all kinds of stuff. It just pretty much just whatever I can, pretty much whoever can actually provide whatever. Our CDs, I actually make myself. They're all DIY. Because most of the time people don't really want to buy CDs because you can download music now off the internet. So what I do is I just I print a jacket sleeve. We have our actual CD, and I go to Office Max and we print our jacket CDs, and we burn our own CDs, and then we put stickers on the CDs. But they're only $5.
I wish you were here in person. We would high five you, so we'll clap. We're gonna clap because you are our first person to say that you do that.
Oh, really?
So this leads me to the next big important question that I ask everybody. Do you use a distributor? Like, you post your music on Bandcamp. Have you used anything like CD Baby or DistroKid or the myriad of other sorts of, TuneCore and stuff to distribute your music? Or are you personally going to websites and just posting it?
I personally went on Bandcamp. Hopefully, it's been kind of a cluster this past year, but I was hoping to get us on, iTunes and Spotify and stuff like that. But, me, myself, actually put everything on Bandcamp. We have some old songs on Reverb Nation. I know, it's just really hard sometimes because, we looked into the iTunes thing, but, when we kicked out our bassist and stuff, we just keep telling people to check us out on Bandcamp because it's the easiest way for people to actually get on there and listen.
And you've got you do have good foot traffic there?
Do what?
You do have good foot traffic, people are coming and checking out that link and listening to you that way.
Yes, guys, everybody I talk to, if I meet new people, I'm go check us out on Bandcamp, I give them the link. Every time I email a venue for a show, I give them our Bandcamp link. It's the number one thing right now. Hopefully, once we get these new songs out, we'll be on iTunes and Spotify.
Don't use a distributor!
Doing it yourself, you're doing it the right way, you're not paying someone to do it for you.
It's just, it's easier because Bandcamp's free, but you still, people can listen and buy the album, and, it's not having to go through a middleman. And
right.
You own the rights to your song still.
Right. Do you hear this?
Yeah.
This is the only human in the last year and a half that we have done this that has not used a distributor. So bravo and kudos to you. I fully encourage you to not use.
First album to never get flagged.
Right. So, I'm a big proponent of do-it-yourself because A, I don't like paying other people to do a job I know that I can do, and B, I like maintaining my own creative rights and royalties for myself, which is what I've tried to encourage with everybody that we've met. So keep doing that, because when I bring up that, hey, why don't you make a CD at home? I don't know. Bleh, I get that a lot.
You get a Joe?
I do.
Yeah.
So it can be done, listening audience. It does take time, she said. This is time consuming, but if this is what you want to do.
First, then I didn't want to put the period, so I paid someone to put the period.
So I mean, I encourage you to keep doing that, and you yourself can submit to both Spotify and iTunes yourself, just like a distributor does, but you maintain all of your own rights and royalties.
SoundCloud is free as well.
Yes, use SoundCloud too.
And you can get it on iTunes, but
Mhm.
you it's gonna take some legwork to get on there for free. Well, without
A
giving up your
distributor.
rights, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I have also educated people, like what is it? Record Union is a distributor that allows you to maintain publishing rights. So they help with distribution, but you still get to have all of your own creative integrity as far as posting it places. So kudos, good job to you. Bravo.
Thank you.
And you'll have to let me know where in Tampa you're going, because my uncle who watches this show and works for Dean Guitar, he lives there. So since he checks out and likes all of the bands we send him, let us know and I'll shoot him that event too, so he can talk about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
When you go on tour, and this is another important thing and why I want to ask you, are you getting paid from venues? How does that normally work? Or do you make a bulk of your money from merch sales?
It kind of depends. Like, usually when we go on tour, I just save up a lot of money, because tour, you never know. Like, you don't want to be stranded somewhere. But a lot of times we get, like, door sales or, like, a guarantee every now and then. Merch sales is good. Like I said, mostly when we buy shirts and stuff, we just get our money back and it goes straight to the gas tank or to feed us. But I pregame. That's why when we go on tour, we go like a couple months in advance. Like we save up money just to have money, because it's not easy being on tour and being like a DIY band, and like, because you never know actually how much money you're going to make a night. So you kind of have to have money saved back to make sure you can make it wherever you're going.
To home.
Yeah, you don't want to get stranded somewhere and be like, we need to play this many more shows to get gas to get home.
Phone home.
Yeah, that's scary. I don't want to do that stuff.
No, and that's encouraging to hear as well, because I think that you're the first person that said that too, that they save money and plan to go on tour. So kudos. I'm thoroughly impressed with your plan there, Lynsey.
Indeed.
Bravo.
Thank you.
And I wish you well on this upcoming tour, because that's only in like 2 weeks now that it's March tomorrow. Where has been the best place to play?
My actually favorite places to play is like every year we do like 2 or 3 tours, and we go just to like Chicago, Milwaukee, Minnesota. It's so weird. When I first started booking like Chicago, Milwaukee, I never knew that you guys had like such good music scenes. Like Indiana doesn't really have a good music scene. We have one really cool punk bar in Indianapolis called the Melody Inn, but it's like always booked, so you have to book months in advance. Ohio, we play like Cincinnati, Ohio a lot and stuff like that. But when we toured up through like Illinois and Wisconsin and Minnesota, there's always like awesome people, and they're always nice to us and like supporting. So like we always go back up that way. Like we've been to Florida like 3 or 4 times now, and like we've met some cool people, but it's more of not a lot of people like are cool about like, hey, you can crash with us, or hey, we'll feed you, or anything like that. But every time we go through like Illinois and Wisconsin, there's always like cool people that are like, hey, where you staying tonight? And we're like, oh, we're just gonna stay in the car. And they're like, no, you're not. You're gonna stay with us, and we'll feed you. Like, so pretty much, I love playing like Illinois and Wisconsin and Minnesota. Not probably like, it's really cool to play, like, New York and stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of cool people over there, too, but we just haven't made friends with them yet. But, like, as soon as we get to Illinois and Wisconsin, we have friends, and they're just always willing to let us, like, crash and, you know, feed us, and they're always, like, promoting the shows as best as they could, and, like, there's always people. So it's, like, pretty much the Midwest is pretty cool to play.
Trench, so you can get places.
Yes, I think that Midwestern hospitality thing is a real thing, and I've noticed too, like,
Also, there's
we'll have to
trench.
we'll have to like hook you up with more people. You mentioned New York, and I would say when we started doing this, we had a bunch of people from Texas, Oklahoma,
Texas.
Texas, lots of Texas.
Not to mention Texas.
But now we've, like, the East Coast has kind of come alive within just the last few months, and so we have a band coming who I think you would align pretty good with, called Castle Black. So I encourage you to seek them out, because they are also going on tour, and they pick up a touring drummer from Detroit. So,
Oh, nice.
so I mean, if you ever head back to New York, I would say hit up Castle Black, because tell them Ska Kid sent you.
Cool.
I think
That's
that
awesome. We're actually going there in April, so that's really cool.
yes,
I didn't know
and the
what to call you.
Pandemics, and the Pandemics. They're a ska band in New York, and they're another one who has been on our show as well. And the person who had set that interview up is in other bands and comes this way quite
And
frequently.
socializes well.
Yeah, so we got two for you. Castle Black and
Awesome.
the Pandemics, for sure. But then, like, even Connecticut has popped up, and New Jersey. I feel like that's all they have in New Jersey for how
Jersey.
small of a state is music. So
Yeah.
there's been New Jersey bands, and I was like, wow, I don't really know anybody from New Jersey, but now I do. So check out the pages our page likes, and
What's
we'll connect
New
you.
Jersey? I don't know.
Bands.
Jersey.
Jersey music.
So
Like this.
Oh,
I'm from Jersey.
it's hard. She can't see us.
I know.
The jokes are falling on deaf face, right? Or blind face.
face.
There you go. I screwed that reference up good.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
pun, Dylan.
Ooh.
Deaf faces.
So, guys, refocus. Where can people find you online?
Online, we're on Facebook. It's literally www.facebook.com/we-are-what-we-are. There's my Facebook. You can just type in Lynsey Riot or Lynsey Ross. I go by Lynsey Riot, but Facebook makes me put what my name's on my driver license on my Facebook. We're on Twitter, but I don't use it very often. Bandcamp is literally just bandcamp.com. Misunderstood. Type us in. We'll be there. Instagram is me. It's just punkgirl1991, but I post everything. I literally document every single tour. There's like tons of photos of craziness that happens on tour on my Instagram. Yeah, but mostly just like Facebook and Bandcamp. I run Facebook. I'm the only person that runs the Facebook, so if anybody wants to talk to me, just write me on there and I'll get back with you.
What has been the best medium for you to get your band known?
Probably a lot of, we started out like, well, obviously when we became a band and stuff, we started out on MySpace. And MySpace is really cool, but Facebook's been like the best, like, getting a hold of people and getting a hold of bands and asking bands to play, and like, people know us mostly because of Facebook, which, it'd be nice to say that we've like toured everywhere and everybody knows us from our touring, but no, mostly people know us from Facebook, like talking to us and liking us on Facebook.
When you go on tour, is it just you guys going on tour, or do you work in collaboration with, say, a quote-unquote sister band where you share each other's stuff, you cross promote, you have support from another human or group when you go on tour?
We've done both. Mostly it's just us. Sometimes we get really lucky, and like usually every time we hit up the Midwest, it's really weird, but every time we hit up the Midwest, it's like the same time Some Kind of Nightmare is hitting up the Midwest. So like there was like a week tour one time. It was literally like 7 days, and out of those 7 days, we played 5 shows of Some Kind of Nightmare, and we didn't actually need to. We just kept getting put on the same show. We've actually, a couple times, we've actually teamed up with bands to go on tour, but it's mostly still just me booking the whole tour for 2 bands. But mostly it's just us. We just go on tour. I would like to find bands to team up with and just be like, let's go on tour together and like split the effort, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's team up and book all these shows together and like share equipment if we have to, or, you know, we'll meet you there type deal, or, you know. But right now it's just us. But if anybody wants to tour with us, just hit us up, because it's really cool to actually have people to tour with instead of just yourselves.
What is your goal, Lynsey, with this group?
Really, it'd be nice, you know, to be able to be like signed and touring all the time. But really, it's just mostly it's just my life. I tour. I pretty much work to have money to tour and to feed my animals, and then I just like playing music. So my goal is just to keep doing it as long as I can, and just tour. I want to pretty much play like almost every state. It'd be nice to do like a Europe tour, like maybe an Australian tour, like in the future. It's just finding the people that want to do it is the hard part. But my goal is just pretty much to do whatever I can with it, get as far as I can, get a lot of people liking us and knowing who we are, and people coming out and seeing us and enjoying the music that we play.
So because we are approaching the top of the hour, do you have any shout outs? Are there any bands that we should know about that we don't know about?
We have a lot of like friends. There's a band from Harvard, Illinois called Peach Vomit. They're pretty badass. Obviously Some Kind of Nightmare. They're our family. We love them guys. Hot Diggity Daffodil from Cincinnati, Ohio. They're like really good friends of ours. There's a cool band from Indianapolis called Mr. Clinton and the Pink Cigarettes. They're pretty badass.
I don't know them, dude. You send us these things. We want to look these people up.
Yeah, Mr. Diggity, what?
There's a lot of awesome bands that I've like became friends with over the years. They're really cool. Cool people. They're just cool to like just hit up and be like, hey, you want to play? Every time we play Cincinnati, we usually hit up Hot Diggity Daffodil. They're a punk band that just started like maybe a year and a half ago, but they're really taking off.
Awesome.
They mostly just play Ohio, but we got them to come to Richmond a few weeks ago to play a hometown show with us. But hopefully maybe one day we'll be touring with them guys, because those guys are really, really awesome.
I know of 2 Indiana bands, like off of the top of my head. The Green Room Rockers and Gun. We saw Gun open for the Sonics.
That was pretty
Holy fuck, they are awesome. And they were super hard to find online, but I found them. So
I'll find you.
I'm a
Fucking
freak.
stalker
Indiana
stage
bands
5
are really
here.
hard to find. There's not really a music scene here.
Well, why is there not a music scene in Indiana?
I don't know. Dude.
Because
Like,
it's a racing
I
town.
always thought there was one when I was a teenager, but then I grew up and I'm like, there's not. Like, literally, we pretty much have like one really good bar to play at, and that's the Melody Inn. They have punk night every Saturday, but they have bands from all over the place. We've had the Queers, they've had the Dolly Rots, they've had Teenage Bottle Rocket. Like, it's a pretty legit bar. That's probably like my favorite bar to play at ever, but it's like the only punk bar in Indiana.
Wow. The rest is just corn and race cars.
Race cars. Turn left.
Pretty much.
And race cars that use corn to drive. Hey. It's like a circle, right?
Oh,
If you
full
get to
circle.
Indianapolis,
It's like an oval.
you should just head to Chicago, because there's nothing in between.
Oh my goodness.
No, there's not.
So again, we've been talking with Lynsey from the band Misunderstood from Richmond, Indiana. They are going on tour to start their tour in Florida. They're going to hit Tampa first, so you have an opportunity in March if you are in Florida to catch them and check them out. And then in April, they're going to New York. You can buy their merch, and if you want to find them, you can find them predominantly on Facebook and Bandcamp.
And follow her lead as far as how you produce yourself as a band and how you show yourself, because this is all DIY.
Indeed.
So hats off for that.
Anything else in
Thank you.
closing, Lynsey?
I don't think so.
You guys got anything else for her?
No.
No, she covered it all.
Well, lady, we're going to let you go into this fine evening. I wish you the best of luck on tour. Hopefully we'll see you at Punk Fest because we are the MC again and we'll be doing a live from the Niner.
The Niner.
So,
Awesome.
and hope you make it this way at some point so we can have you physically on.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, without further ado, we leave you this evening. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon. Okay?
Thanks.
I know.
Thanks for having us.
We have to go because old man Mike is trying to like disguise his yawns behind a beer. Bye.
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 Oh, fuck, I have to pee.